Okay, guys, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. The agenda is as follows. We're going to call the meeting to order. Certification of open meeting law requirements. Have they been met? Yes, they have. Okay. Certification of, okay, that's been met. Roll call of committee members. Jeannie?
Jean Galazinski.
Renee Lyon.
Peter.
You're up, Jeannie.
Oh, sorry, Nutter here. They're asking security questions. When did that start?
Adams here. Whalen here.
And Severson here. Okay. And then we go to the adoption of the agenda. Do we need a motion to do that?
I move to adopt the agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have the adoption of the agenda. The approval of the 6/10/2024 regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the June 10th, 2024 regular meeting minutes as typed.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll go to public comment. Call-in number is 715-538-1894.
Madam Chair, we have somebody that would like to give public comment that's here in person.
Wonderful. That'll be great. Pardon? Oh, okay, it's public comment. Come right up, introduce yourself.
And the microphone is on.
Is it on?
Yes.
Test, okay, thank you. Well, thank you, Trempealeau County Parks, Tourism, Economic Development Committee for letting me be here. I emailed last night asking if I could come in person to talk, so. My name is Julie Booth. I'm from Strum, Wisconsin. I've been a resident of Strum for 27-plus years and grew up right on the Trempealeau County-Eau Claire County line in Cleghorn. So I'm kind of a lifer to this area. I've had the great privilege of being an educator at both independent schools and Eleva Strum, as well as rec therapy with the Trempealeau County Healthcare Center and Pigeon Falls Daycare. And most privileged to be of service to the city of Eau Claire for many, many years and just retired in January. So, yay. So I've got 35 years in this wonderful vocation, and I'd like to, when I found out that there was an interesting note on the agenda, I wanted to see if I could come in and speak with you about that. And that I'd like to talk about the possible pickleball request and initiatives that are going to naturally start happening in Trempealeau County because they're happening everywhere else in the world, especially in Eau Claire County, north and west and east of that. The other thing that's really exciting is, I'm not sure if you all know, but July is National Parks and Recreation Month, and we always have a theme. So it's been happening for over 40 years. And this year's theme is titled Where You Belong. Oh. And I thought, how perfect and how fitting, because where we belong and everyone needing a sense of belonging in our world, in our small communities, perfect place to come and to talk to you people about parks and recreation initiatives. So what I'd like to give you a little bit of a history just about the sense of belonging and somewhat staying on that same feed. I've got some notes here. First off, some of you may not know what pickleball is, and so I'd just like to explain real shortly. It's a game that was invented back in 1965, and it has spread across the country, and in the last 6 years alone has grown exponentially at a rate of 87% annually. The story behind that was just some kids were bored on a rainy day, and the dads went out and invented a game, literally. And but it has exploded to worldwide interest, and hopefully by next year, Olympic interest. Its popularity it's a game that is on very small courts. It's very inexpensive. It's super inclusive. It's for all ages, all abilities, accessibilities, genders, and socioeconomic backgrounds. So that, in my professional opinion, has been why so many people across the world have, it's just a sport that's exploded. Personally, it started up in Eau Claire back in 2013, and we already have 36 designated courts just between the three cities, and over 60 within 20 miles north of that, that are literally dedicated. And part of that is because small communities are realizing, as large communities have, the value of that sense of belonging that this simple little game can do for communities, and has done. So I said it's gender neutral, it's for all ages, all abilities. The value that I see, both personally, in community and professionally, is just understanding what we have here in Trempealeau County. You know, we have the beautiful PTED Park that's got the campground and so many things for the community to offer, and many of the small towns have their own playgrounds or their waterways or now their trails. I'm fortunate to live right along the state trail, and it's just a blessing, and to see so many people and how the small towns are trying to build up a lot of their community. And the pickleball community is growing here. It started in Osseo. They have their own small, we've been playing in some churches. And when we can get in schools, when it's not youth athletic time. But the growth of it, we are now having people waiting. Last summer, we painted lines on a dead-end cul-de-sac in Strum, just because people were wanting to start to play. And it is all volunteer-run.
Cool.
So our group has, we use some online communications, personal community. The sport itself, it's more than just a sport. It is literally a community-building activity, and people from all ages. There's lessons, there's tournaments, but more than anything, it's a social event. I'm missing right one with 10 of my high school friends who just learned last month, and they can't stop playing. And we, of course, end up going out for coffee and all of those things. So the game itself is a community building. It's a sense of belonging in places. Our group in Strum has undergone extensive research for funding and for bids. And a lot of volunteer hours have already been put into trying to, how can we establish this, not only just for the Strum community, but for all of Trempealeau County. There's people that come there from Augusta, from Osseo, from Whitehall, there's some. Independence, a couple that come up to play. And for me, being in the community, you know, I'd love to have a place to go right out, as would a lot of people, but the value that I just can't put into words, what I have seen personally, and I'm sure Jack has when he was in Chippewa, just personally what it has done for communities. I, in my profession, have seen people that have had diabetes that no longer are having to deal with that. People who have had hip issues or knee issues and weight issues. There's just so many that their physical well-being has exponentially changed. And more going back to that sense of community and belonging. It is just a very interesting, in my profession of 35 years, it is one activity that I can't compare to any other that has brought so many different, wide variety of people in communities together. It's hard to even honestly put that into words. So we have gone under, back to this project itself, we have had some committed funding from the Village of Strum. Eliva Strum also has a large youth association that is now connected with the school. I was founder of that back in 2001, and it has grown, and we'd like to be able to include more families in some programming, actual programming, which would be run by all volunteers, which down the road, adding some recreation programming to the county's initiatives. I feel it would really be a viable, wonderful spot. Our hopeful location is right near the golf course and the campground, and in a sense, that's it's almost like what the initiatives were with Petrick Park, with putting in the disc golf, right? And putting in some of the other, those activities to try to build community.
Sure. How much money has the village put into the project?
They
Around.
have $20,000.
Okay,
It's ARPA funds, so it's, needs to be used in 2024.
okay.
We have businesses who have already been in support of the project at either discounted rates or in support of their community to assist with the various excavation. That
Sure.
type of stuff. So,
Does anybody have any
Any other
questions?
questions?
Yeah. No? Well, thank you very much. We
Yeah.
appreciate your help.
Yeah, thank you very much for your, Jack, if you need any inquiry, we have a long history of going back, so I appreciate your time very much and consideration.
And thank you so much for coming. Bet. Any other public comment? Oh, sorry, yes.
Hi.
Hi, come right
I
up.
didn't see a sign-in sheet. Did we dispense with the sign-in sheets? I guess. Okay, Linda Mossman. I own with my family the Oak Park Inn in Whitehall. I'm also a board member of the Whitehall Area Historical Foundation. I am also a member of the Trempealeau Trails Bicycle Association and have been in the county for 26-plus years. I'd like to compliment Dave on the post on social media recently. I'm finding them to be informative, inclusive, they're colorful, they lead you back to other, more information, so I wanted to definitely compliment you on that. And then I have a question. As a member of the Whitehall Area Historical Foundation, we have now put on 3 pretty successful, in my opinion, events. Some of you were there for the garden tour on Saturday. And on your website, after all the tourism information, there's a link to events. And when I clicked on it to see how I would get my next events listed onto that calendar, it's full of governmental meetings. Is there a way that the public and the community and particularly groups could somehow get that information to that site and get it posted to help us promote what we're doing?
I think there is a way, Linda, to be honest with you, when I started, nobody was doing that, and I haven't had requests. So that's something we can take a look at. I kind of remember somebody telling me that there's a different, you can select like meetings calendar or community events calendar. So
Oh, I
think
guess
there's-
I didn't look
I
that
think
far, I
there, well,
apologize.
you wouldn't find anything on it, because we just
Okay.
don't, as a matter of course, get event requests from people. So let me look into that,
That'd be great.
Yes.
get back to you, get back to the committee.
Yeah, another thing, a great thing that you can do, Linda, is Dave has been awesome about allowing all of us, or many of us, to be part of that Facebook piece, so that you don't have just one admin. So don't ever be afraid to put that, to send that to any of us here, and we can get it on for you. And
Okay, so
and
I'd send it
Facebook
to
is-
Dave, a Facebook social
Sure,
media
and he'll get
post
it
that
right
he
on.
could share.
Or,
bet.
or if it's just even texts and pictures.
Yeah, anything
And
that
I'll
you
put
have.
something together. What we're trying to do is have some sort of consistent look and feel to Facebook posts.
Sure.
So, we
Mm-hmm.
want to limit the number of cooks, putting posts together, but.
Sure,
yeah,
I
I'm-
understand.
I'm happy to do it, and to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
yeah, it's great.
I want to be
More-
posting more frequently than we do, and if there's content sitting in my inbox that somebody says, can you do this? I'm like, yes, that makes my job a lot
It's
easier.
really fun, yeah, and more pictures are always great, so any
Yeah.
pictures that you have,
We'd
even
love
of
to be
past
doing a
events.
couple posts a day,
Yes. Yeah,
And
it's-
so
that's a
there's
lot of work.
There's it's not as much as you think.
Yeah,
It's-
especially
it's
today.
Sometimes thinking of the idea takes more time than actually doing it
Yeah,
itself.
so we appreciate all the ideas, thank you so much.
Jeannie has a question.
Jeannie has a question?
There was a time when there was a calendar on our website which listed things. Did that go away?
No, that's what I said. I think that's still there. It's just nobody sends anything, so,
I mean, who's responsible for adding to that? IT department or?
Not sure, that's what we need
Yeah.
to check into and
I think, guys,
and
that is
report
one of the
back.
things that we know is high on our agenda is that website and figuring that piece out. And maybe that's one of the things we can put on the next agenda is to say, what can we do with what we have right now? And then how can we build that?
So-
It might be good to have Tim come to discuss how it gets put on and who does it. But there used to be, every month there was a calendar and you could list events that were happening all around the county. And I don't know what happened to it.
You forgot your,
Let me share my screen real quick, just to show you
So
what
there,
I think would be informative, so.
so when you're thinking about this, Dave, are there policies? Do you need to be an organization? Can you be a business? I mean, I think there, some
course,
ground rules
yes.
would be very beneficial.
Of course, but,
Okay, so here's the county website, right? This is the county, you probably saw it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Right, so there's a little drop down here.
Oh,
This is the
master.
master calendar, this would theoretically, I think, have everything on it. But then there's county board calendar,
Okay.
county government calendar, and local events. And this is the calendar where I think exactly what you're talking about. Would, right, and you notice over here, there is a notify us of your event. And those, if somebody notifies me of or notifies us of an event, I believe that comes to me.
Who's the us? Because there's more than just art stuff.
Well, I don't know, let's see what happens if you, and look at this, there's local event community calendar posting guidelines.
Oh, well, there you go.
Event postings are moderated by the Economic Development and Tourism Coordinator who will review.
They should all come to you then.
Right, so it's out there,
like has Rob,
yeah, it's,
still out there.
yeah,
Theory, not-
yeah,
Nope.
yeah.
but maybe Dave, we can make a note of going ahead and getting that piece updated.
Yeah, we'll update this, and
And
I
then-
will talk to Tim.
And the website address is,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then one of the things we can do on Facebook, obviously, is make it super easy to where you can just go
Sure.
to that,
Sure.
link right to that, so that'll work.
But yeah, the mechanism is there, it's just, has it been publicized? No, but it is there, and I think we've got all the pieces.
We'll do a better job on that. I'm
It's
so
just
glad
something
that you brought it
because
up.
Dave will tell you, we have a vintage baseball game coming up
Yes,
at the end of
yeah.
July, which he's participating in. So it's like, okay, this is by the organized 501(c), so it should be a legit event that we
Yep,
could help
yep.
all promote.
And I would think Trempealeau County Tourism would be anything that would bring people into the county. So if you have a business event that's going on that you could bring into the county, that'd be great.
Yeah, there should be all the fireworks stuff that's going on. I mean, there's a big event in Strong with music and food and fire. None of
Sure.
that is on there.
Okay,
But
Jean?
I also have something to add there, I'm sorry,
Okay.
whatever department it is, they usually have a calendar, the TV department has a calendar of events that scrolls through. Is that something where information?
I submitted it to Kevin
Yeah.
separately.
And if I were a layperson, I would have done that too, I'm learning a lot today here, because I thought it would just go to Kevin,
Right.
but I'm learning.
Yeah,
Yes,
but if
we'll
you've
get it
got
figured out
something,
now.
send it to
Yep.
me. But we'll sort out this calendar thing, because that may be something, if we just straighten out a couple of things and notify people, then it's
Yeah,
on
we can
them.
get more stuff
Yeah.
out there for sure. And any advertising is good advertising there. Jeannie, one last thing?
Linda, at a couple meetings ago, I had brought it up, actually before we got some of the new committee members in regards to doing a specific tourism economic development website separate somehow from that because of when you see all the government things.
Right.
Also, we talked about working with Ann Hempel because of the GIS system, that we could come up with a form. Information could be on that, it could be put on the website. Information could be on there, it could go out to businesses and organizations to help with things like that. So some of the things have been talked about, they just need to continue to go through.
Beautiful. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
we appreciate that.
And
Any
I
other,
heard your event was lovely, I saw the posters
Thanks.
too, beautiful.
Thank you.
any other public comment? Then we'll move to the Great River report. Jean?
Well, it's been busy, busy, busy. Saturday, June 22nd, we had been told that there was going to be approximately 100 to 200 old semis that were coming through for PTSD. And unfortunately, the weather was so bad, a lot of them didn't come. But the information went out to the whole community, or the whole county. And most of the communities did things, they put flags, they welcomed the tractor trailer units, or correction, the trucks into the communities. They started Friday night in Arcadia at the park, and then on Saturday, they did their tour, 120 minutes, and there was no stop. Everything was just on, and it was, I unfortunately wasn't there because I was at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife 100th anniversary, which is the same date. But hopefully next year, if they do it again, the money that was raised will, for the veterans for PTSD. As you all know, the rain that we're all been getting, flooding is a big deal, especially down by Trempealeau. The Catfish Days always has a tournament, which is coming up next week, and they've decided unless more water comes, it will happen. Unfortunately, the Trempealeau County Dairy Breakfast had to get canceled because of the weather. However, I keep watching it because hopefully they'll be able to do it maybe August, September, whatever they can work out. But that would be great because obviously we want to continue to promote dairy. The Trempealeau County Fair is coming up July 17th through the 21st. I'll be putting that poster on the Wisconsin Great River Road Facebook page. In regards to the 100th anniversary at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife in, well, they say Bryce Prairie, but it's on Alaska. Besides celebrating the anniversary, it was also the 7th Interpretive Center for the state of Wisconsin for the 10 states. So we're very proud of that. So now we have 7 in our state. We're already working on the 2025 visitor guide. I have sent out RFPs for salesperson and for design. And also I'll be sending out for printers. We want to get it out as early as we can because with the printing costs, we want to get the best deal that we can. We will be at the Wisconsin State Fair on Saturday, August 3rd. Grant County and LaCrosse County, or excuse me, Explore LaCrosse also has a day there. So all that information they had, Wisconsin Great River Road Visitor Guides will go there, which of course we are in. In the booth that we will be in is with the NATOW, Native American Tourism of Wisconsin, and also the Wisconsin Badger Camp. Prairie du Chien, that's for the handicapped and disabled people. It's a wonderful organization. Episode 2 from the, that we're working on, hopefully that we'll be able to do for Discover Wisconsin. We've been kicking out some ideas around. And just to give you the current numbers of what we received from the episode 1, which of course Trumpealeau County is included in. Social media and digital impressions, 684,072, digital and streaming views, 169,627, social engagements, 1,600, broadcast viewers, 247,000, digital streaming views by state, Wisconsin, 58.6, Illinois, 17.9, and Minnesota, 13.1.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
We're gonna
go.
keep continuing to do that and keep pushing out, which is, you know, wonderful. And the other thing is we are starting to work on an RFP for our GEM grant for 2025, and I put two RFPs out for budget for streaming and digital, Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. So when I get more information on that, I'll let you know. We want to keep pushing all of our counties and keep those people coming here. And I know Dave will talk about the economic numbers, so does anybody have any questions?
I've got a question, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
that's okay.
RFP?
Request for proposal.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, I should have said
That's a
that.
marketing one.
I know, that's what, educators cannot
Kevin,
pick up.
request for proposals, RFP, RFI, request for interest.
All
or
right, I just needed to
information.
know
Well,
why
we
we
have to
sent it
know
There's
out.
all
all
these
kinds of
fancy.
That's right,
Yes.
sorry.
I
No
just needed some
problem.
education.
Good
I think you're
job.
appropriate in it, thank you.
Yes,
You bet.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Dave, if you want to go on with the, I guess, the Trumpealeau County visitor spending.
My economic development and
Oh,
tourism
sorry.
reports
Yep.
first. I did provide it in the packet, a couple
Numbers here.
things that have come up since then. I do have a meeting that I'll be attending July 16th. It's a listening session with the State Department of Tourism's Office of Outdoor Recreation.
Great.
So I just think with all the natural beauty and outdoor rec activities we've got, that's just a logical extension to keep
be
pursuing
perfect.
those partnerships and
Dave,
synergies.
will you copy me on that one? That's
Yeah.
that's one I have an interest
Yeah.
in, yeah.
Other than that, I was talking with Visit Eau Claire yesterday, and it looks like they've got some time on their schedule the week of July 15th to come and do just some shooting. If you recall, we're going to be doing an Instagram, TikTok project with them, as well as a day trip Trempealeau County page. But this video that they shoot would be for the Instagram and TikTok content that they're going to create for us. So, don't have to do it now, but if you got some ideas, we're looking for like 5 or 6 things that kind of say Trempealeau County. And keep in mind, Instagram and TikTok, it's short format stuff. So, we can't tell like a complex story.
picture.
But, just, can't miss scenery, views, something like that. And out of the lists I receive from you and what I come up with and what we talk about, we'll give them something to work with. So July 15th, that's 2 weeks from now. So if you can get me something yet this week, that would be good.
Perfect. And then you can now go into the report on the
Yeah, all
visitors.
right, so let me share my screen here again. There we go. All right. So as Jean kind of alluded to, there we go, full screen. There we go. A couple weeks ago, oh gosh, it's 3 weeks ago already. I think it was the week after our last PTED meeting. The annual report on visitor spending came out from the State Department of Tourism. That's always highly anticipated. So I'm just going to give you a summary of our visitor spending for 2023 in Trempealeau County and surrounding counties. By the way, I will point out, if you look at the logo there, that's a new treatment that we're using for tourism
I like it.
with the traverse.
Yep.
And intentionally, sort of, the word traverse kind of traverses the
Flows
water,
around.
Yeah,
sea,
right on
and
that one.
land. Yeah, water, sun, and land. So, this was a statewide headline as well as a local headline. We set another record in visitor spending. There was $41.4 million in direct spending in Trempealeau County last year. And direct spending, just going to give you a definition there, includes travel-related lodging, food and beverage, retail, and transportation. That was up 1.2 million compared to 22, an increase of 2.9, which, I think we're really happy about. It was a little slower than we had the year before in 22, but we also had an extra $19,000 in marketing money in 22 because of an ARPA DMO grant, Destination Marketing Organization, Kevin, that we received. The economic impact grows to 70 million when you look at what's called the ripple effect of direct visitor spending circulating throughout the local economy, also called economic multiplier. That increase of 30 million in total economic impact compared to 22 was an increase of 4.1%. So again, considering that, we had higher gas prices for a good part of last year, inflation, post-COVID, a lot of other travel destinations were kind of opening up for people again, international travel. All of those were competing with our ability to attract visitors, and we still did rather well. Just to show what the regional scene looks like, I ranked this chart from highest direct visitor spending to lowest, just to give you a perspective. As you would expect, Eau Claire and La Crosse are top of the heap. That's why we partner with them, because they're attracting a lot of visitors to the area. La Crosse, even though they set a record, kind of had their growth slow a little bit. They were up 0.4%. Eau Claire had a pretty good year. Monroe had an excellent year.
Yeah.
And what I will say about that is they did launch last year kind of a rebranding and new website, and I think that probably might have something to do with that. Jackson County, 44.2 million, and then there we are at 41.4. Buffalo actually dropped a little bit in direct visitor spending, although they, as all 72 counties, did have an increase in the total economic impact. And then there's Pepin, smallest county in the state, with 9.3. But Pepin's been doing some exciting stuff
They have.
recently, too. So statewide, 15.7 billion in direct visitor spending, an increase of 5%. Again, this is the economic impact number. That's that broader number that looks at the multiplier. We slot in, right ahead of Jackson County, which actually has more direct visitor spending, but for whatever the reason is, that money circulates more in Trempealeau County. And so we had a 4.1% increase. And then, that's kind of right in line with the statewide average. A little bit more about what the impacts are. Direct visitor spending supported 423 jobs in '23. That's up 2% from '22. 9.7 million in total labor income increase, or income produced, 3.3% increase, and then 3.6 million in combined state local taxes. That was a 5.5% increase. County sales tax impact, 350,000 in county tax collections in '22 related to visitor spending. And how did I come up with that number? Based on visitor spending of 70 million, times the 0.005, 0.5% sales tax, that's how you get the number. And that's an increase of 15,000 compared to '22, where we were at 335 direct, tied back to visitor spending. County sales tax collections last year were 2.81 million. So roughly 1 in 8 of every dollars that's generated by the sales tax in county sales tax ties back to visitor spending.
Nice.
So we're a significant driver of income for the county board, county administrator to do the work that we need to do. And I'll just stop the presentation by recapping our marketing budget. We did get a little bit of an increase for this year compared to '22 and '23, although, as I said, '22 was a little bit of an aberration because we had a regular marketing budget, and we also had a significant juice to the budget from that ARPA money. But we're trending in the right direction. 14,000 was what it was the last 2 years, 18,000. We also got an additional 4,000 for parks marketing in our budget this year, which was great. We've got the GEM grant that's going to allow us to do the destination marketing research. And then that also sets us up in the future for year 2 and year 3 GEM grant, up to $39,000 in marketing match. So you can see the table is being set, and it's time to eat. These are just a few examples of ads that you've seen. I think that they're a significant professional upgrade from what we've done in the past. And all of these, you can see the little bar up at the top. Every one of those ads, those were our 3 major visitors guides ads, all included promotion for the park, as additional value. And that's a way we were able to use some of that parks marketing budget to extend our overall tourism budget. And that's it. Any questions? Talk about more places that we can get them out. But at some point, we need to replace that with a visitor's guide. But like Jean said, that's not a project that I can handle alone. I just don't have the bandwidth and time to do it. We would have to put out some kind of an RFP or contract out, to sell ads. We could gather the content, provide imagery. Somebody else would have to do layout. Because you wouldn't, my desktop publishing days are like in the rear view. I used to do it and it's passable, but, so that's the answer to that, is we're still using the fold out.
We really do need there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And, Becky and Dave and I have also been talking about other ways to do it that you can actually make money and bring in some more money from it by doing
advertising
that.
and-
Yes.
Sure.
So I'm sure we'll be able to get that put together.
And honestly, the positive about not having done that yet is that now we're in this process at the beginning of doing this joint effort marketing, destination
Yes, yep.
marketing research project. And I think that's information that will help inform
Oh, yeah.
where we
Yeah.
target it, what kind of things people want to see.
Yep.
So it's just really a good exciting time to be involved with
Yeah.
doing some new stuff.
Are those guides still available at the county clerk's office? Where are they available?
Yeah, I think there's some down at the clerk's office. If you want some, see me, I'll get you as many as you
Well,
want.
maybe I will, just to
Yeah.
drop here and there.
Yep.
Okay,
I
great,
think it's
thanks.
really a good idea to keep them in your car. And
Yeah.
just that,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do with ours. And
I
then you
keep a
got 'em
box,
and
I
throw
keep
'em
a
out
box in
and-
my
yeah.
car because if I stop someplace that looks like they'll take them, I'll drop
Sure.
off a bundle.
Yep, you bet.
But I'll drag some more up from the basement. It's really easy now since we're kind of over on that side of the building and there's an elevator right there.
There you go. If we have nothing else on that, I think, David, let's just jump right into the GEM project.
Yep, so I'll just do a quick update, and then I actually do have a motion that I'm gonna need from the committee, if they're agreeable. But we did put an RFP out, right before the last PTED meeting. So it was a call for proposals. I think I sent it out to about 24 marketing research or marketing, professional communications, marketing firms around the state and elsewhere that were on a list that the Department of Tourism provided, and then reached out and added a few more to the list that we sent it out to. The response period closed last Wednesday. We ended up getting 4, which I was really excited about. You know, it's just hard to know with, $17,000 if we'd get even one. And so now we've got 4. Becky and I and Lori and Jean will be reviewing those RFPs, scoring them, and then deciding who we want to work with. And to that end, we did do a resolution, I think back in May, that accepted the GEM grant, set up budget numbers for it and stuff, and had language that I thought would cover us for being able to select a vendor without having to come back to the committee. I did talk to Corp Counsel, and she thought that it would just be better if we had something that clarified that. So I did prepare a motion that basically would allow us to do that. And the motion would not need to go back to the county board. We would just put the minutes with the original resolution. So before I read that, does anybody have any questions about next steps on that with the GEM grant? Again, this is to do destination marketing research, so there's going to be consumer surveys, talking with focus groups, establishing focus groups, doing some strategic planning, all in the end, really, I think, to answer what is it that we have to attract people? How do we convey that in a message, branding, taglines, all of that kind of stuff? And then to whom are we trying to deliver that message? Because it's not nationwide or worldwide, right? It's, that's the questions we're trying to answer.
Perfect.
Questions? Otherwise, if somebody could make this motion, the motion would be to clarify that Resolution 2024-05-07, approved by PTED and the county board, grants the county administrator Rebecca Gluen authority to select a vendor and enter into an agreement for professional marketing services in connection with the county's joint effort marketing project.
I so move as stated by Dave Carlson.
Second.
I'll
give this to Amy so she's got it.
Yep, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Oh, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good job. Okay. All
That's not a
right.
victory.
I would say you're getting your steps.
Yes, there you go. All righty. Anything else then, Dave, on that?
Nope.
All right. And then we're going to move to Jack on the SRF Consulting Rescope Plan discussion.
Actually-
And it's Jack and Dave, I guess.
Yep,
Yeah.
let me just do this real quick, and then if Jack wants to add in, he can. So Jack and I did have a conversation, probably about a half-hour conversation, a week and a half ago with Phil Johnson from SRF Consulting. As you know, they've been on hold since February because, we looked at the rec pond thing as a committee, decided, ooh, that's a little too rich for our blood. There were some other issues with potential liability about having a rec pond, all that stuff for the 2 new members' benefit. So that kind of got shelved, and what we've been trying to do is, as a committee, come up with just a sense of how do we want to move forward. So Jack and I had a conversation with Phil. what was really communicated was that we want to move forward with the natural play areas, adventure play areas, scrap the rec pond, put the bridge study on hold. Not going to do that now because we already know that that would be a really pricey project. And let's focus on trying to get something that we actually could build. So, subsequent to that conversation, Phil called me back looking for some clarification about stuff. And I think at this point, as long as the committee is in favor of pursuing the adventure play area and the nature play areas, and Jack might have a couple of other ideas of what could be incorporated into those, that's the direction we will give. And it will be to, we'll give them some ideas that we've already kind of vetted, I think, with the committee, looked at pictures and stuff like that of kinds of things we want to do, and we'll get them back to that, back to focusing on that.
All right, Jack.
So I think, we want to focus on that natural play area. Phil had mentioned like a community engagement piece. We thought as a group that we've done enough to know that we should just go forward with this natural play area. I'm thinking there might be some different ideas that we'll vet out, but I'd like to see some type of climbing structure, some swings or a slide with that rustic feel.
Yes.
That kind of ties into the park. So I'm excited about it. I think there's an opportunity to incorporate disc golf into the area, and that might be at a later date. That's something I can maybe do internally. So definitely have some ideas on what we could do with the space. And if you could get like a big natural play area that's right on Highway 93 and you have possibly some nice baskets that you could pair along with it.
Oh, yeah.
You get a lot more day use and people that see our camping opportunities and maybe get some more campers out there, start to fill that campground up a little bit more.
That sounds great. And Jack, keep in mind that pickleball and the gaga ball, because those are really
Absolutely.
popular.
Yep.
Jeannie?
Jack, when you talk to Phil, would you incorporate special things for kids with different abilities so that it would be, families could feel comfortable bringing their kids out to engage in this play area?
I'd like to have some type of smooth path that goes from structure to structure,
Right.
but it all depends on how much money we have to work with and how we can phase out the project.
Because I know there are some, when you Google play areas for kids with disabilities, there's all kinds of really unique and fun things that
Yeah.
give them, and kids that are without any issues.
Yeah, I mean,
And I
Becky
know-
has this idea of, that she brought up initially with, like, the rolling hills.
Oh, yes, that's.
I think that's a great structure, that could maybe help that group.
And I remember when Phil when he showed us the plan, he talked about those nests, which are
Yep.
really good for kids
Another
with
thing.
autism, because not all disabilities are seen. So,
And Jeannie, that's
lots of
yeah.
tangible things for kids to touch and play. There's a really good one up at a park in Douglas County.
Jeannie, that's also a really great idea, because any of those sensory kind of things that you can put in also are other grants that kind of get you into that, specifically with playground equipment and that kind of thing, which I'm sure you're aware of, Jack.
Yep.
But those, when you focus on that particular group, that pile of money opens up quite a bit.
Right, but I don't want to have a special area. I mean, it needs to be something that all kids can play on.
Absolutely.
Of course.
I totally agree with you.
Of course. Yep.
Becky,
Fitting
Jack,
as many age ranges as we can
Right.
is a big priority.
Right.
Becky and Jack and I have a Zoom
Wonderful.
meeting next week with Phil.
Perfect.
So we can do this. And then what we'll get out of SRF and Phil is a rescope.
Wonderful.
So we kind of know how much money we're talking about to do these things, because right now, we're working under a contract that was much more expansive, that we've
Right.
whittled down now.
Perfect.
What
Anything
is
else?
the budget for this?
I think we're going right into that next, right? Is that your,
Well,
budget
Jeannie,
for
the
the
original
playground.
contract that we approved last fall, I think, was like up to 59,000. to do.
No, but I mean, what is the budget that we actually have to
Oh.
begin working on this playground? And will it be in the Shank area, so that we don't lose, I knew you were gonna talk about that. So I could read your mind, gray hair.
I actually have a meeting set with Tom
Okay,
this
good.
afternoon.
Okay.
And we're just gonna kind of talk about what we've talked about
Okay.
today.
Thank
Him
you,
and I have
Jack.
been able to communicate good, and
Great.
I think he's all on board.
All right, thanks.
Good job, Jack, all right. So then the next thing that you have is
But
your.
wait, and I didn't get my question answered about how much money is set aside for this playground area.
Whatever is like identified in the past is like the fund, that there's
Okay.
a park fund, but otherwise we have nothing identified
Okay.
bigger. That's a part of our budget discussion
Okay, so we don't
in
know, that's what
CIP
you're
right
gonna
now.
talk with Phil about,
I
what we
mean,
could
we have
afford.
46,000 left in the contract. That would go out of the park reserve fund, so I don't
Okay,
think we want to use all that because we
Right.
want to keep that money. So honestly, it would kind of, we want to see what happens with Phil.
Okay.
And what his thoughts are
All right.
when we get to a kind of a new design phase.
Okay.
And then kind of go from
all
there.
right, thank you.
Okay,
Hi.
can I ask what you're looking to address?
The playground equipment.
Okay,
So I just want to give the committee notice on the playground equipment. It is,
I don't know who this is, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm Doreen Olson,
yeah.
a community member.
And Doreen, I'm not sure if, I think that's probably something we could do in the public address in the future. So I think if you have any information, if you want to get it right to Jack, that'd be awesome.
Okay, I'm just giving the heads up that 46,000 will not
Oh, that's just the
cover very
contract.
much
Yeah,
of the
the
playground
playground.
equipment.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
We're
so
aware of
much.
that.
Doreen
can
has
have a
been a
talk,
very
Doreen.
active
Thank you so much.
participant, community participant in our group for many
Awesome.
years, and her family has contributed a lot of money to our park.
And we appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anything else that you have, Jack?
Yes, we had talked about fundraising for remaining dollars. That's still kind of a brainstorming idea, so there's possibilities that are down the road of how we can fund this. So Doreen, I can have a conversation with you, and I'm sure we'll hash some things out pretty soon here
Sure, that sounds
about
great.
timeline.
Awesome. Very good. And then the park report, Jack.
Yeah. So Mark Helgeson came to me with the idea of wanting to do some new picnic tables and frames at the park.
Are we
And
on the
we've
priorities and timelines, or what? I'm
I
lost
think
here.
it's
No, we've
park report.
done that.
Oh, you
already.
did the priority list and timelines
Talked about when that was going to be,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
for everything in the park? Okay, I guess I,
Yeah,
all right, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just not I just felt
Sure.
like we didn't address that fully.
Go ahead, Jack.
So picnic tables and frames. Mark Helgeson came to me with that idea. So what we want to do is looking at a couple companies just to get the frames made, and those guys are gonna and have already started kind of making the boards and looking into getting some new boards so we can kind of make those ourselves at the park to save us some money. So that's kind of the extent with that. I should have some numbers for next meeting. It's going to be a higher dollar figure. We're kind of ranging from 10 to 20 tables, so however much it comes out to, we'll kind of see and kind of make the right decision with our budget. But yeah, hope to have some numbers in our August meeting, and then forestry, that John L. guy that's done some cutting in the past, he wasn't able to anymore with health concerns, so has really been a struggle to get the tree people out there with all the recent storms and whatnot. So I think we need to think about forestry and maybe getting bids out so we can get that out a little bit quicker. So I've just been trying to do calls and 3 to 4 different companies, and I've got a quote from HD Tree Service and should be getting affordable tree care out there pretty soon. But yeah, it's been a lot to get those guys out there. They are very busy with all those recent storms, so we got to do some more thinking on forestry stuff internally. just like to give a shout out to Land Records. They've helped me a great deal with GIS stuff, and there's a lot with grants. So learning slowly, but it's all been good. We put out a July 4th promo. Basically, we're running a 15% discount at the campground and for all campsites, and we're going to have a little park event on Friday night with music, grilling, and the marks will be out there. So
Awesome.
something new at the park.
Good job,
And
okay.
it should be fun. Those marks are going to put one of the grills that we had sparely on a set of cinder blocks, so we don't have to buy one. And then we're just going to have a nice little night out there. We'll have some rec activities available, wiffle ball stuff kind of out
Perfect.
there, and have some basketballs by the basketball area and some volleyballs by the volleyball area. So
Send me a little note on how many sites you still have left, because I know that the area campgrounds are full, so we can shove some that way.
absolutely.
All right,
absolutely.
perfect.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
How do these things get advertised? Can they be on Facebook?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we did an advertisement yesterday, and then I think Dave was able to share them, and we kind of work hand in hand with each other on some marketing stuff and making sure people see things.
You know what, I can have our campgrounds share that, because everybody is full, so.
Yeah,
I'll search it out too and
Yeah,
share it.
that'd be great.
that'd be great.
Yeah, we aren't full, so that would be good.
Yes,
And the
sure.
other thing is, we did do a half-page ad in the Trempealeau County Times and the Arrow Shopper last week.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Great.
Madam Chair, just a quick question. Do you happen to have the numbers for June, Jack, of how many we had campers and?
I could get
Site
that
nights,
to you
yeah.
in a report.
That'd be great.
That'd be great, yeah. If you want to pull
so-
that site nights every month, that'd be great.
Sure. I could, I can get those numbers for you in the future here.
Thank you.
Because there's a report.
Report on Camp-
report
sure.
tab on CampSpot we could pull those numbers
you.
out of.
Anything else, Jack, there?
Just a music update. Been seeing a good number of people, and people are excited about us highlighting the different music events at the county. Basically, this is just to get some more exposure to some music that's going all around the county that people don't know about. So Arcadia, we had about 70 to 75 people. Independence, we had about 30 to 35. So Strum is going to be tomorrow night. I'm going to be there from like 6:30 until I think it's a good time for me to leave. I probably won't stay for the fireworks. So,
I'll see you there.
yep. So I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there with a tent selling shirts. I've sold maybe 6 out of the 20 I have. So,
Awesome. Very good.
Those should be done by the end of the year. Hopefully I get them all
Have you
sold.
gotten rid of the mugs yet? Those are great
No, the mugs,
Love those
I think that's actually a great idea. Maybe I can bring those
mugs
along.
are great.
Perfect.
Yeah,
They're the
because I
best
have
coffee
not.
mugs.
I've
Okay.
probably only sold maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, bring a
since-
box.
There you go.
Is
But-
this committee your best customer so far?
No, but I did
I
get
gotta think
someone
everybody
from the
would've
sheriff's
bought one of
office
each.
that bought
They're
one.
great.
Bring one to the
Strum
next
also
meeting.
had
Yeah.
music
Bring
last
your
week.
box.
Bring your box to the next meeting, yes,
We'll
for sure.
liquidate your.
Yes,
Good
well,
deal.
yes.
Yeah, they're nice mugs, and I
Perfect.
mean, me and my wife really like them. We got a couple,
Wonderful.
so
Wonderful.
she steals them from me.
Yep, there you go.
Are they the ones from when they had the park celebration?
Yeah.
I think so.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
They
They
are good
look
mugs.
I'll
really
bring the
kind
box.
of like Harry Potter-ish mugs.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
why
I think I
love
got
them.
one at the celebration.
I'll bring that box and campground
Wonderful.
report.
Real
next
quick
meeting.
question, Jack, on the music piece.
Sure.
Is somebody carrying the license for that, the music license? I would assume somebody is.
So we kind of just left that up to the communities on how they wanted to hire the bands. We're sticking to the marketing aspect of things. How I wanted to do it originally, it was going to get too sticky with this first year. So we kind of are working with WHTL, talking to
okay.
the communities and getting, I had put posters out on high traffic areas, gas
Yep.
stations, grocery
Yep.
stores.
Yeah, the just having like ASCAP, CCAP, those kinds of things covered, it might be a bit important. I'd look into that for sure.
Sure.
Make sure that that's
I
covered.
know that all the Strum music, the people that play the music carry that insurance.
That doesn't count. It doesn't work
Well,
like.
it works for them, I guess.
Well,
So-
it'll work for them until somebody catches them, because
Yeah.
it's not, I mean, you have to have that license. You have to have, there's just no, It's a
Because
legal
I asked
thing.
about it and they said there was no issue, so.
Yeah, it's the event, or it's whoever's contracting the band.
Yes, yeah,
And that's how,
and the bands don't carry it. That
well,
doesn't count.
they have to carry something.
They carry something.
But it doesn't count.
But us marketing, instead of getting involved with contracting and stuff, is a way we kind of insulate ourselves.
So you're giving it to somebody else to take care of. Yeah.
Well, the communities that are sponsoring the bands, we're
Yeah,
helping
and they're
promote.
also having other events throughout the summer
Sure.
too, a lot of
So,
these.
yeah, all I'm saying is somebody's responsible for making sure that you have that license. All righty then. Anything else, Jack?
That should do it.
Perfect.
Bob has a question.
Okay. Sorry, Bob.
In regards to Farm Progress Park, how come there hasn't been a porta potty involved or put out there yet this year? I know there's been a lot of little leaguers playing out there, and you just can't go behind a tree.
I
No.
thought they did do that. I
No,
thought the
there's-
health care center took care of that.
Nothing out there.
Anybody, maybe I don't know if that's our responsibility.
That was
Or the healthcare center.
It was
maybe
all-
reach out to their board and see
It was
what's
all
going on.
put, the healthcare center said they were gonna be responsible for everything at our
Yeah,
last
they
meeting,
were.
as I
Yeah,
recall,
a year
right?
ago when that,
Yeah,
they were
Okay.
gonna have it put on, and
because
here
they
you're
they
middle of
took out the
summer.
old ones and they were gonna put porta potties on the cement slab. But
That's
I
a,
haven't-
that's a great comment, Bob. So Becky, can you make sure that that happens wherever we're, yep,
Maybe
perfect.
that's their committee, I don't know, to reach out to the board of trustees there and see.
Just email Jerry and ask what happened.
Yep, I'm sure Becky can take care of that and her team. And then the Strum pickleball courts discussion. Becky?
Yeah, so I'm just going to start it off, and then, you can discuss, of course, that was kind of brought up at the tail of the last meeting. I think that, of course, pickleball is very popular, and it is a good thing for communities to focus on. I'm not sure, as you talk about funding, how the amount of funds that this group has is really hard for, I guess, me in looking at that, how you can consider. There's just, there aren't funds. And looking at this committee, I would also state that you not only have this committee that oversees the funding here, but you will have the exec finance committee group also. And so in looking at, I think one of the interests previous in our last discussion were the CapEx funds. I don't think that, looking at CapEx funds for pickleball courts is going to be something that is of interest by both committees. So, but I don't know what the direction of your discussion is, but I just wanted to say the funding piece is of question, and I had some thought that, or at least that was my feeling, is that that was part of the question here with using some of those funds for that, and I don't see that as a viable option. So, but if you have other conversation about pickleball courts, if there's any way that we can promote and make that happen and help, I guess that's a great thing,
Right.
so.
And I think it would be great from our visitor today and her comment, I think it'd be just great if we could get more and more of those in other communities and play against each other and that type of thing. But I agree with the funding part. Yes.
My recommendation, and I don't know what exec finance would be, is that we would match the $20,000 that the village gave to the court with the CapEx money.
I have a comment. Well, I think that pickleball is just one of the greatest things that has occurred in the past how many years. And I'm hoping that it gains momentum. I'm wondering if the county starts committing money to one particular area, it sets a precedent. Are we gonna have to follow suit in other areas? And can we afford to do that?
Well, previous CapEx dollars went across the county. Very little, in my humble opinion, do we ever focus on anything north of Arcadia or Whitehall?
I think.
We have $160,000, I believe is what it is, in the CapEx money that's been sitting since November. And that money was designated for parks, recreation areas. $20,000 out of that money to match what the village gave does not seem unreasonable to me.
I don't think it seems unreasonable. I'm
I
talking
just
about
think-
setting a precedent.
Yes, and I think it would be very difficult to get the full board to go along with one specific
So we
area.
don't do anything just because we're, afraid
We-
another committee might say no?
No, you can go ahead and make a motion if you
I
like.
would make a
yeah.
motion that we match the $20,000 that was given to,
There's no actionable item on it.
oh, so I guess I can't do it, I'm sorry.
For discussion, but we could bring that forward for the
Sure.
next meeting if you'd
Yep,
like.
bring it forward for the next meeting, sure.
And on the idea of setting a precedence, that at that level, we wouldn't be able to take care of all the municipalities in the area. And I understand that CapEx did divide up, but that was a known financial revenue that we had the original time. This is basically a residual based on cost of what they put in. I know that we have plenty of ideas for it, and I know it's a great idea for the pickle court, for pickleball, because there's a lot of people that are getting into it, but I don't think we can sustain it. And not opposing it, just saying I don't think we can sustain it, and I don't think we can advocate for something that we can't sustain.
Can you explain what sustaining it would mean? Once it's done, it's done.
Excellent. I appreciate when I get a question like that. Sustaining it means that you do it as far as for one municipality, and then it's request for the next year for another municipality, because you did it for the other one. We're putting up 50,000, we want you to do it at the same level. That would be the sustainability as far as the revenue stream. The revenue stream does not allow, it's a one-time stream, does not allow us to do it sustainably for the rest of the county municipalities.
And I think that was clear when we got the first $1.2 million CapEx funds. It went across we did RFPs, and we got a lot of people came in. I think Linda Mossman, oh, she's left, but she was part of that group where we reviewed the RFPs, and people understood this was a one-time thing. It's not money that's going to come again, and it went to various things across the county.
So would it be this board's pleasure to put this forward for next month to have a possible action? Is that
I
what
would request that it's on the agenda again for the next month, so that, and if it fails, it fails. If
Sure.
it passes, it passes.
Sounds good, we can make that happen. And then the rodeo update, Jack.
Yeah. So, Ricardo has requested new dates again. So I have a meeting with him tomorrow, to possibly give him some confirmation. The contract wasn't how I wanted it to be last meeting. He was kind of expected to look at the contract and, have it filled out completely, and it was about half to 3/4 done, I'd say. So I'm working with Susan, our attorney, on opinions on our special event permit and policy, and also her opinions on what Ricardo needs to provide. So I went through a checklist with him last meeting that I'd like to kind of just review with you guys so you have a little bit more context. Dave, are you able to share that checklist? I can't. I don't have those online tokens.
Jack, what are
It's in
those
the
dates?
agenda. Okay.
Is it in the packet?
Yeah, it's in,
Yeah.
it's
And
in our
yeah.
packet internal.
Is there actionable items on that, Jack, that we need to look at?
No, I just had some things that, there's been some new committee members now and some crossover since March and April, so
Okay.
people don't kind of understand the whole scope, I feel like, with
Okay.
everything that's needed for this rodeo and what we're doing on the internal side. So just kind of wanted to brief go over
Okay,
my checklist that I went with him. If we're not able to get it, I can just
yeah,
brief
just
go
go
over
through
it.
it.
Okay. So new dates are August 3rd and September 1st. So we are ranging into Ashley a little bit, getting close there. But I think it's far enough away and we've put enough on him where he knows he needs to clean up in time or there's gonna be some issues. So he wants to have 2 dates and has to put down a $1,000 security deposit. If the first date doesn't go well, he might use that whole thing up, and then the September one isn't gonna be able to happen. So we definitely are trying to think of all things that could and might happen, when it comes to our contract and making sure the county's not liable. But like some things I went over with him is just information. He needs to provide exact information, like contact, his business, and kind of the people he's working with. We need better information of all those. So he's been doing a good job of getting us contact names. I want to have all this kind of like in review. I want to have it 30 days in advance, why the meeting is scheduled for tomorrow with him, for an August 3rd one. And like, we're just kind of going over quite a bit of things like internal fencing, electrical and lighting, signage and banner. Want to know kind of what his plans on what he's bringing in. He's working with a third-party organization that he's trying to get confirmation with called United for a Dream. They want to be the ones that sell that canned beer and have
Yes.
a picnic license. So he's working with them now, trying to get that confirmed. Accessible pass, I tried to make that a priority for him. We need to have, I think he's at the number of 350 now for total people there. So we need to have at least 4 handicap accessible parking stalls that are the closest near and a smooth path of travel going into the event. Made that clear with him, that that's gonna be kind of a deal breaker if we don't have that. And then he's also got to submit a digger's hotline ticket for everything that he wants to go into the ground for. So just wanted to kind of briefly go over this, and show you guys kind of what I'm doing, trying to get everything
It's a project,
squared
yeah.
away, by next meeting. So we're
Great.
doing the best we can. He's planning to have, Guerreros out there for a food truck. I think
Perfect.
couple food trucks out there, and then hand washing station, porta potties, the whole
Beautiful.
deal. So
Okay, anything, yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no,
I was
go.
just looking at, it's September 1st.
Yep.
Okay, Labor Day is the next day. Is that a big park weekend?
Possibly. Right now, we don't have a ton of reservations,
okay.
but I did enable text messaging, just this last month in
Okay.
Camp Spot, so, should be
Yay.
able to at least let people know, either on our site, internal site in Camp Spot, or via text message that we're gonna have a rodeo going on. And that might bring some people and some campers in too, so.
Okay, wonderful. And Jean?
Just quick question, you're meeting with him tomorrow, so that's July 3rd. What day are you giving him to have everything done? If it's considered, if it goes good, August 3rd, what?
Sure.
Cutoff, because how, for marketing, for him and for all the other stuff that needs to be done
Yeah.
on the county's level, I just get concerned because it just seems like this is just, and you are doing awesome, and it seems like you're doing so much more. I would have liked to seen him have more things in order and whatever
Yeah,
for
yeah.
safety for them, for us, the county, everybody. And
I
I'm just a
agree,
little,
yeah.
I'm having a really hard time with all this, but I want you to know that I appreciate everything that you're doing. But I worry, I just worry about this.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with your concern. I see both kind of sides of it. We do want to have this event, but we also don't want to have a
Right.
huge
And
catastrophic
it's a
event
neat little
for the
niche, but
county.
yeah, it's gotta be safe,
It
yeah.
just feels like it's shoved all the time, and it just doesn't feel done.
We'll
Right.
get it. It's just because it's a first and
Right.
new, right? Yep.
Right. Yep, and like some of our concerns, like he is working with us, and he got an interpreter involved in last meeting, and she's
Wonderful.
been a huge help. Her name is Jenny Everson. She's been a huge help in kind of that. She was at the last meeting, will be at the next one, and kind of gauge merging, or how do I say this? Kind of connecting those barriers a little bit between him and I. Because if I tell him all this stuff, like,
Sure.
I don't think he was gathering all the information right. He's got pretty good English. His wife, Rosa, she isn't that great with her English, so that's kind of why they are in our Latino entertainment. That's Ricardo and Rosa, basically. And it's a new business, and they kind of want this to be their main event. They're from Arcadia. So everything I've heard, like, people are really excited about it
Yep.
and wanna see it happen, but again, we've
You
kind
gotta
of.
figure it out, right?
So what did the cutoff date that you gave him, or hasn't that given it, and you'll wait till after tomorrow's
Sure,
meeting
so
with
he's
him?
got to provide an updated contract, a calendar of events since our last meeting. And there is one other thing, updated contract, calendar of events for tomorrow's meeting. And if it's not how I want it to be, I'm not going to grant him approval tomorrow.
Okay,
Great,
perfect.
thank you.
Alrighty then, and then let's go on. Okay, sorry.
I thought when this was brought up a couple months ago that we weren't gonna allow them allowed on a major holiday weekend.
Sure.
I think
Right now, I mean, September 1st is still.
I think we were
Tentative.
talking about other events happening in the county, as I remember it. I don't remember it being on a holiday, that we were talking about other events.
I think we mentioned
And then
that as well.
And then we had a follow-up meeting that we kind of said, it really doesn't matter if there are other events happening because it maybe draws more people to the whole area and different people. I don't remember that anyway. I don't know about,
I kind of remember that follow-up piece too,
holiday.
because we had those tentative dates, and then that's what we said.
He had one on every major weekend is what he wanted to do, you know,
Right.
starting with Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day.
Yeah. So yeah, he's definitely downscaled. Before he wanted to do like 4 to 6, and now he's at that 2 number. I think
Still
possibly
one
having
less
it on Labor Day, if that's what we discussed previously,
Yes.
then we don't have a ton of spots filled. Maybe that helps get some spots filled at the
Right, for
campgrounds.
sure. Becky?
just to finalize, and just say, kudos to Jack. I mean, we didn't have anything in place.
Right.
And we have to put a lot into place to make sure that it is a
Yep.
well-run, safe event, and he's doing a great job.
Yep, and once you get it going, that'll make a big difference too. Okay,
Yeah.
so, anything else, Jack, there?
No, that's good.
Okay, the canoe kayak approach, discussion and action, Jack.
Sure. So, might have to wait for this one to get shared from Dave before I can start talking about it. Yeah, this one's just got pictures, because we wanted to see some examples a little bit more of this meeting. And basically, we've had this.
It's the canoe.
Canoe kayak launch site
Yes, that's the one. It's pictures, right, Jack?
Yeah, yep.
I got it here, but I can't share either. I don't have the share tokens or whatever they're called. I would
So
like,
basically, last meeting we had talked about.
oh wait, I can share.
Wanting to provide some more examples of kind of what this looks like, what we might be thinking. So I thought just talking about some pictures of both options.
Sure.
And being on the Trempealeau River, we've seen the recent flooding and how it can vary. So that's definitely been a part of my thinking when it comes to this. We want something that's low maintenance, something that is going to be another amenity at the park. And
Accessible for
accessible
everybody.
for sure for both options.
Right.
Thinking about accessibility and how we can have everyone able to use this new feature. So this first one is a picture of Crossroads and kind of a traditional launch and what maybe to think about 20 years down the road. So I'm also looking at location kind of on the back end of this. This is kind of the approach. This is kind of what's happened across road. There's been some flooding and sand has gone over the cattle slabs that are underneath this, just because of erosion and different flooding concerns. So this is kind of what to think about. This is what could happen way down the line, but it'd be pretty nice for 10 years, and maybe we can do some restoration stuff that maybe the club and Independence, Elk Rod and Gun wasn't necessarily thinking about. We can try to keep those cattle slabs where they're visible and you're able to use them. Dave, if you want to scroll down. So this is kind of the plans for this crossroad. Basically, you're having some type of concrete cattle slabs that go all the way down into the river, dredging into the little bit into the river. Have to have a waterways permit possibly for this if you're going to do any work alongside the river. So that's kind of what you're thinking about for that concrete underneath. Another thing to think about is with accessibility is maybe the highway department helping us off with some blacktopping, and then a potential wooden overhang where someone can walk on this and at least get out to the river. I know that's what Lions Club was looking at with their launch site is a wooden overhang and more of a traditional launch. And I think Independence, Elk Rod and Gun with their kayak and bridge location on 186 Bridge in between Independence and Whitehall, they're looking to do something similar to that as well. I don't know if they are going to provide the overhang, but we're looking at a smooth path and an overhang for the accessibility of things. And then I'll move down to the floating dock. So this is kind of what a floating dock would look like. I got a quote from Jeff Howell for 12.8K. That's not counting the price of installation and maintenance and excavating to get things cleared out where you could use it. But basically, we met at the site, I think, in March or April, and this one would float up and down, and it would be for the river, but with the fluctuation of the Trempealeau, we would have to probably tie this down to either some concrete pilings or trees, which we don't want to do trees in our park with trying to sustain natural resources. So there's quite more costs if we're going this route, but the materials definitely are nicer and might be able to be used by more people. But on the other hand, some people don't even want necessarily a launch site. They'll just want to get in on a shallow part of the river. So there's kind of two sides to the coin on this. I think definitely trying to save money and looking at different grant options for this. So I did some DNR. I talked to the DNR kind of about our project and the funds awarded in the past, and I wanted to see if we could stack recreation boating facilities onto the conservation aids grant. And unfortunately, we're not able to do it like that. We'll have 5,200 with 26 coming from the DNR in mid-July and 2,600 coming from us. And then how do we use that money at the park to get the other funds that are needed to get this launch in? But I think the less funds, probably the better, so that we're not taking things away from other areas. So we can scroll down to this last one. This is just kind of another example of something that might be floating and that you can get in and get out of. I found this picture online. And then if you are interested, Juneau County does have, you can scroll down to that last page, Dave. Juneau County does have kind of a mixture of both launches starting to get incorporated into those. If you guys were able to click on that link, you should have been able to see kind of if you go down to their launches tab in their Parks and Forestry Department, you can kind of see both options. But I would like to kind of vote between a floating dock and kind of the traditional approach. We wanted the committee to make this decision. We thought that would be the best moving forward. So seeking approval on a plan moving forward. After discussing both options for a launch site on the Trempealeau River at Petrick Park, determining the proper location for the launch site will be the next step, along with ADA accessibility and planning a smooth path of travel that's at least 36 inches in width, and a way to get to the water with a possible overhang. The Highway Department would blacktop a path at Kloss, may want to get something communicated once the location is established. So that's kind of that accessibility piece. Either approach, I'm going to be making that a priority and making sure it looks nice and you can also get there for multiple abilities to be able to use the launch. So like to get the committee's opinion and possibly seek approval on traditional or floating dock.
I just got a question then. So either, any of those options you believe are ADA accessible and could be used, is that
Yes.
correct? And then what about winterizing all options? Can they just stay where they're at, or do they have to be moved?
So the
or-
floating dock would have to be removed in the winter,
Does
just
it have
for
to be-
corrosion.
Does it have to be stored, or can it just be moved higher on ground, on land? Pardon me?
It's gonna float away
In the winter?
in the winter
Yep.
with the spring
Oh,
floods, 'cause
it gets
whole
that
river
high?
landing is underwater.
You
Oh.
probably, since nothing's in the, I mean, lower shelter, I don't know if we'd fit it in there or not.
Yeah.
Maybe you could get one of those doors open. I mean, we'd have to see
You would have to
about
store it.
storage.
You have to put it up on top of upper landing where the outside privy is.
Okay.
And you have to monitor it all the time,
Yeah.
because it'd have to when it fluctuates, you'd have to lift it and lower it.
Okay, so.
I'd make a motion that the committee consider, Jack moving forward with looking at a floating dock. The reason I say that is because for me, it feels way more accessible than traditional.
Yep.
Because traditionally, you have to deal with flooding and, you know, even if you're on crutches or in a wheelchair, it's gonna be difficult to get. And there are a lot of people with disabilities that kayak. I have a whole group of kayaking buddies, and
Sure.
some of them are old with arthritis, and the floating docks are great.
Okay, and then,
I'll second it for discussion.
okay, discussion?
Jack, is there a way that you could find out just how much it would cost for the
Yeah.
blacktop as well, what the county would
Yeah.
charge us?
Right.
Absolutely.
And any other,
Biz.
sorry, my brain just went dead.
Biz.
Figure.
Those guys-
Any other thing that goes
Yeah.
along
Along
with
with
that,
it,
so we would
yeah.
have.
Additional cost.
Additional
Thank you,
cost,
that's
there
what
you
I
go.
meant to say.
You bet.
This is the highway department's busy season too. So
Right.
like even getting them, it was hard for me to communicate them dropping some gravel at the park.
Sure.
So just kind of keep that in mind with those guys. They're very busy in the summer and, I'll do my best to get something by next month though.
All
Yeah.
right, that'd be good. I think that's great. Any?
With your floating dock, where are they gonna exit? If you've gotta put them in on a floating dock, you gotta have an
take 'em
exit.
out,
Yeah. Yep. That's not necessarily something I had thought about yet.
And the next exit down is at Schultz Park in Arcadia.
Right.
That's just basically shove her off the bank.
And
Bob, how long of a trip is that, about?
Probably 2.5, 3 hours.
Okay, that's kind of good. I mean, it's like the, you know.
Because how these are spread out,
Yes.
you have
yeah.
one in Whitehall by the country club.
Yep.
And then the next one is at 186 here between Independence and Whitehall. The next one after that is at Four Seasons Park in Independence. The next one after that is at Crossroads. And then the next one after that would be Petrick Park.
Gotcha, okay.
So they're roughly about 2.5 to 3 hours apiece. It's something that you can do, say like 4 o'clock in the
Yeah,
afternoon
right,
and
and
make
still
it.
make it, yeah.
You know, before it gets dark.
Yeah.
I've had some conversations with Eva, the director over there for Parks and Rec. I don't know if that was ever designated to the county, that canoe and kayak launch landing. She seems to think so. I don't know if anybody in the community can shed some light onto that. I'm not sure.
I have no idea. I live near Schultz Park, but I don't know if maybe I could talk to her and or the mayor, the council members there and see for sure if they know, or I would have no idea.
Well, I think that
I
would be an
wasn't sure.
important part, Jack, for us to get this all pulled together, is just tell us exactly what you think it's gonna cost all in, and then definitely we have to have that, I mean, it doesn't work
Two
to,
ports, yeah.
you know, to really be an amenity unless you can get on and off, like you said, Bob.
Storage.
And the storage and all that, yep.
Insurance. if-
This has brought up a lot of different discussions, and most of the time, these people just like to have like an inch hay rope, just to have a rope,
Sure,
just to
just to
guide
get
it.
off, yep.
In that, you know, just make the
Yep.
launch a little wider and then have a rope out there for some guidance. And that seems to work the best. And you see those all over. You don't have a ton of money, and that's what's very easily used.
And that might be a great, you know, solution for like right now. And then, obviously, the accessibility thing is important. So is there anything else you want us to actually look at before you gather more information, Jack?
So am I hearing the sentiment of, are we wanting a floating dock, or are we thinking that's too much of a lot? Yeah.
And it was seconded.
Correct.
And now we have the
For you to
discussion, so
explore
do we need to call for a vote?
Possibilities for,
You want the costs
The
for
cost of
both
the-
options?
no,
Yes.
Both options,
Yes.
and blacktopping, and the removal.
All
Yes.
Everything, in
Yeah.
and out, and
Yeah, I
if there
can-
needs to be extra insurance on it, if there's damage, what would be the
Yeah.
Yep.
rebate, not rebate, but
it would just fall under our county insurance for, steps.
Yeah,
I
and,
don't even know, my brain is not working.
and campgrounds have the amenity law
Yeah,
too,
that's
so,
what I meant,
yes.
yes.
But also, I think it would be a great idea to have Bob's comment kind of in that same thing, like, what can we do now? You know, what could we do, you know, right now?
Encourage all the other places to look, to make sure that they need to be ADA accessible.
You're gonna have a lot of expense there anyway, just in excavation, because it's in a floodplain, and you cannot stockpile ground in a floodplain, so it's gonna have to be trucked out of there.
Right, and we had that conversation of, that launch used to be maybe by the horse trails way a while ago. I kind of want to look into that a little bit more and see maybe where that was, and maybe that's where it has to go, and we got to do some major excavation. Because the floodplain thing, that kind of scares me a little bit.
Okay, would you
Especially
guys-
with the floating dock.
Would you guys be all comfortable with tabling this then till the next meeting, till Jack gets?
There's a motion and a second, we haven't decided that
But
yet.
that could be tabled at this time so that we can defer and get the information. The main motion would be tabled is what the vote would be about. And basically, to table is not debatable, so I would move to table it until next meeting.
So we won't do any, Jack won't do any research on it?
No,
don't
I will.
understand.
Just the vote?
I'll have to have-
Just the
It's,
vote on
we would
that?
not do anything
We
today
would not.
without knowing the
Alrighty,
information.
whatever, go for it.
Yeah, he's gonna bring
Exactly.
that first. You
An
can make a decision between what
all-encompassing
you want.
event,
Yes.
or kind of a site
I will
approach, I
second
guess.
that.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a first and a second. Now do I have to say any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, then we'll just-
Table is not
The table
debatable.
is not debatable, all right,
So do we
okay.
vote on it?
Then you say all in favor
All
of
in
tabling
favor
it.
of tabling it? Aye. All opposed?
No. Aye.
All right, so motion passes.
Tabling
Okay,
this every
motion's
month.
tabled.
Motion's
Every month
tabled.
for the
Thank you.
Motion's tabled.
Motion is tabled. All righty? Okay, so then, future agenda items. Looks like September meeting at PTED Park. That's fine with everybody?
August, are we having an August meeting?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to follow the agenda here. The next meeting date then is August 6th, 2024?
Did you say it was at Patriot Park?
September is.
September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed that,
Agenda
sorry.
says.
Yeah.
This meeting out there, because it would be ahead of Ashley.
Oh, yeah, right.
And, you know, you could do a walkthrough and just say, hey, how good a job these guys did at the park.
I won't be
I
there, Jean
suggested
won't be
that,
there
but
at Petrick Park in
was
August.
voted down.
That'll be like 2 days.
I just won't be at the September one.
I think the August, just to clear, what is today, Tuesday?
Yeah.
You know, that's when, is UW Extension's out there? Is that, or do they start Wednesday that week? They're out there for a full 3 days, right? I don't know what the dates.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the dates are without looking at camp spot.
I thought it was the first week, but maybe.
Okay, let's get, so the future agenda items, are we okay then with the September at Petrick, do you think? Or would you like,
Yes, I mean, if there's some other events there, but I mean, it would kind of make sense to have it before, you know,
would you guys
a
like to do it?
showcase to show.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Would you guys like to do it August 6th if it's available?
I won't be there.
Okay. And then, okay,
Unless there's Zoom available that day.
okay, depends on the internet in the park.
Right, yeah.
All right.
We do have Wi-Fi at the
Extension
class.
is out there July
No.
30th, 31st, and 1st.
Perfect, so then we can reschedule the Peachwood Park to August 6th and not for September.
You just stack that agenda with park stuff, because that's the one I'll miss, because I'll be at the state fair promoting the county.
Okay.
That'll work out well if we're right
Can
there
we-
to see it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Perfect, can we get a motion to adjourn, please?
So 8:30 then?
Nope, you can just-
Okay, meeting adjourned, thank you so much.